I'm Claire Marris, and I'm convening a module on translational research. And that's all about the whole process of how research in the lab gets translated into treatments and cures and procedures for patients in the clinic. So people often talk about going from the bench to the bedside. And what we look at in this module is sort of how that process is actually quite complicated. It's not just a simple linear process where you get a result in the laboratory and then it's obvious how it's going to get translated into some cure or benefit for patients. And also how lots of different people are involved in that process, not just the scientists in the labs and then the clinicians and doctors in that process, but pharmaceutical companies are involved, regulatory agencies like the Food and Drug Administration or the European Medicines Agency are involved, and even citizens and patients themselves are involved because they increasingly produce their own data, which is used for developing new drugs and new treatments. So we look at a lot at some of the new fields like personalized medicine and pharmacogenetics. We look at sort of some hot issues like stem cells and cloning and how those might be translated into health benefits. And we look at how these different actors work together, so how the pharmaceutical firms and the intellectual property regimes, so patenting and those kinds of issues, influences the kinds of research which is more likely to develop and in which directions. So one of the things we look at is clinical research and how clinical trials are set up, and how increasingly they're used to test new cures and drugs, but also they actually creating new knowledge which is used by scientists. So that sort of double role between being a science project and a clinical project, it means that there's a lot of ethical issues about the clinicians sort of having two hats on, they're being a scientist and they're being a doctor at the same time, and what that means in terms of their responsibility towards the patients, how much information they should tell the patients about what the research is for, and how much right the patients have to know what the data is going to be used for, and whether how they can consent or not, and how you can transmit the relevant information to them. And the whole course is taught by just a few lecturers, myself and 3 or 4 others, all of whom are in the department and conducting cutting-edge research in this area.